Hey everybody, Chad here. Another episode of Law of Attraction Secrets. In this episode, we're going to talk about focus on your attention only. Okay, so focus on your attention only. That being said, if you like this video, share it, like it, subscribe, you're up below. Let's get rocking and rolling. I don't like to go over a great big long spiel. But anyway, focus on your attention only. So what do I mean by that? In a lot of these topics, I can make 20 videos off of the same topic because there's so many different examples to give. I can talk about it one direction and it resonates with you. I can talk about it another direction and it doesn't resonate with you. You know what I mean? Just depending upon what examples I give, what's going on in my life at the time. So, that's why, any topic, so many videos can be made. We can angle it so many different ways. But when we talk about the law of attraction, okay, and I hate to law of attraction is so popular these days. That's what it's pretty much called. But, when we focus our attention on something, we focus our attention usually on one goal at a time, okay, not multiple, not 10 different things. Because our energy, gets dispersed, you know what I mean? And it might take longer to transpire, or it might pull something over here that you don't really want, you know what I mean? So basically, focusing your attention on one thing, one goal, one want, and you focus on that attention, you stay committed to the end, meaning that you don't give up, you don't throw in the towel. Once you make a decision, you're making a committed decision, okay, on that attention. Okay, you're making a committed decision to not give up. You're making a committed decision to, that's what you're going to think about, okay? This topic can go many different angles. There's many things to talk about here. Because when we talk about decision making, the hard thing with decision making, most of us are weak decision makers. Most of us, I struggle with this. So a lot of us are, it's hard for us to make a decision, okay? Then once we make a decision, we change our mind really quick, okay? Some of us might make quick decisions, but we change our mind just as quick, if not quicker, okay? We're not making committed decisions, So that's one thing within here, is with the law of attraction, is making committed decisions, okay? When I make a decision to do something, I do it and I stay committed to do it, okay? If I change my mind, even Napoleon Hill said, successful people make decisions very quickly, but change their mind, if at all, very, 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 very slowly. So in retrospect, he's saying they don't really change their mind. Once they make a decision to do something, they do it, they stay persistent and consistent until it happens, okay? So that's a real decision, okay? So when we have our attention, we're making a real decision to stay in the game and not give up until the end, until what we want has transpired into reality, has transpired into our life. Okay. Now, why focusing our attention is so important is because what I really want to talk about is when we go throughout our day, okay? When we have our attention, we have a goal that we want. Maybe it's a selfish goal, makes sense? And I hate to say selfish goals, just because maybe it's a goal that we want. We want a better house, a better car, we want to make more money, a better job, whatnot. That's fine, okay? It's fine to want stuff for yourself. Maybe it's an intention for another person. Because remember, I've done videos on this with the law of attraction, the power that we have inside us. When we set an intention, we can set our attention for our own life, but we also can set an intention for another person, okay? We can use the same principle to help another person, okay? That's 100% true. So when we set our attentions, when we go throughout the day, our normal day, we have to envision ourselves in the end. We have to envision ourselves that it already happened. Anytime we think about our goal, anytime we think about our attention, that's what we think about. Okay, because it's really, the principles of the law of attraction, the principle itself is very, very basic, very, very easy, but actually doing it is very, very hard. Makes sense? Because we have bad habits. Okay, we want immediate gratification. We want it to happen now. We want it to happen tomorrow. We want to control the how. We want to try to manipulate the how. We want to try to scheme to make it happen. So we have a lot of little games in there that we play with ourselves that, I mean, no fun intended when I said that, but anyway. But what we want to do is put ourselves in a state of anytime we're thinking about our goal, we're thinking about our attention, that we're thinking in result. We're thinking that we already have it. It's almost like acting as if. When we go through our day, we're acting as if our attention, our goal has already happened, okay? Might not be in physical form yet, but we use our imagination. Anytime we think about it, we're thinking in result. We're thinking we already have it, okay? The issue with this, the issue that I think most of us struggle with, I know I struggle with it, that what happens is when we start thinking about it, we don't think in result, okay? We use our imagination for bad, okay? We start thinking about, we start worrying about it, we start overthinking, overanalyzing, okay? And that kind of leads to worry and doubt. Worry and doubt kind of leads to fear. We fear that it's not going to happen. We get scared it's not going to happen. And that's where our imagination kind of goes off of. We start thinking, you know what I mean? We start playing a whole bunch of scenarios in our head. That's how we end up using our imagination. All of us use our imagination, but we play these negative scenarios like what if? So what if this happens? What if this happens over here? And we actually play this internally in our mind as an imagination. We play in our imagination, what if this happens? And we see that happening in our mind, okay? Rather than when we think about an attention, how we have to train ourselves, okay, is when we think about the attention, we think about what we want, our mind has to flip right to end result. Our mind has to flip right to act as if. Our mind has to flip right to it's already occurred. Okay, I already have what I want. Okay, it's the same thing if I set an intention for another person. Okay, it's the same thing. When I think about that person, I can't play a negative scenario in my mind about that person. Okay, I can't. Let me give you an example of I set an intention for another person. Maybe that a person is addicted to drugs, okay? So I set an intention that that person is clean and sober. In my imagination, I see that person coming to me and saying they quit everything. They're clean and sober. I see in my imagination that they've moved on from it. They're prosperous. They have a great job. They have a great job. That's the state that I see them in. Okay. But what happens is it's so easy that seems easy, but it's actually difficult because when we think about that person, okay, out of bad habit, it's easy to see the person in the current state that they're in. It's easy to see the person that they're struggling with drugs. Makes sense? That's what I mean by current state. It's easy to see the person in a current state, okay? And it's easy when you see a person in the current state, it's easy to imagine what if. So what if this happens? What if they overdose? What if they don't get out? What if it doesn't work? What if it takes too long? What if they get arrested? What if, we play all these what ifs in our mind, and we have our imagination kind of have little scenarios on, like a little hands there, little scenarios on our mind. That's what we end up using our imagination for. We end up using our imagination for more negative than positive. So what we have to understand when we set an intention for another person is when we think of them in their current state, we're really poisoning their life, okay? Same way for us, when we set an intention for ourselves, but we constantly walk around in a state of worry, in a state of doubt, a state of fear, we're constantly overthinking or overanalyzing, we're constantly playing these what if games in our mind, and we're actually kind of poisoning ourselves, okay? Because that's what we're imagining for ourselves. We're actually poisoning ourselves. We can poison other people, okay, but we can also poison ourselves with our thoughts. So that's why, when you set an intention, only what you're trying to train yourself to do is you only focus on your intention. Anytime you think of your goal, you think of your intention, you have to train yourself that you think end result. You think it's already been done. You almost act as if you go through the day acting as if it's already happened. Anytime you think about it, you act as if it's already happened. In your imagination, you see it already done. You see it's already happening, okay? Then the next kind of phase of this is focusing our attention is really believing. The reason why we overanalyze, I can just talk about myself, okay? I struggle with this. The reason why I overanalyze, overthink, okay, then that leads to doubt and worry, is because I don't 100% believe it's going to happen, okay? That's really the honest truth. It really comes down to core belief. The more you believe it's going to happen, the more you believe you have the power inside you to manifest it, the easier it is for you to let go. The easier it is for you to know, once I set an intention, I know 100% it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen. See, that's our job when we set intentions. Our job is we focus our attention, we stay committed to our attention to the end result. We act as if it's already happened in our imagination, okay? We get really good at our imagination. We want to try to feel our imagination. And with that being said, we totally believe it's going to happen, okay? Make sense? Because we're not controlling the how. It's more you believe. I kind of losing my train of thought here. The more we believe, sorry about that. The more we believe to the core it's going to happen, it's easier to let go. It's easier to know. It's easier to have confidence. Like, I know this is going to happen. I don't know when. I don't know the how. Okay. The how isn't my responsibility. The how is God. Okay. The how is the universe. Whatever you want to tell yourself. Okay. They control the how. That's not my job. My job is just to focus my attention, know it's going to come true. I don't know when, I don't know how, but all I know is 100% it's going to come true for either myself or another person. Okay, it really comes down to us being able to control our thoughts. Okay, anytime we think about a goal, anytime we think about an intention, okay, we're thinking end result, we're acting as if, okay, we're thinking positive, we're imagining positive end result for our attention. We don't go off and play what ifs all through the day. What if this happens? What if this happens? We don't talk to other people and get their opinions. Okay, I've done a lot of videos on this as well. We don't do that. Just because when we ask people for their opinion, once we get their opinion, and we have 20 people's opinions in our head, it floats around in our head, then it gets harder for us to kind of listen to our own intuition. Make sense? So, all the answers are inside us. Okay, we just have to trust ourselves, trust our own intuition, make a decision. Once we hear from our intuition to do something, make a committed decision. We're going to follow that and stay committed to that as a committed decision until it takes place. So kind of the takeaway here, because it's kind of getting about 14, 15 minutes here into the video, kind of the more takeaway here is it's controlling our thoughts around our attention. Anytime you think of your goal, you think of your attention, you have to try to train yourself to think end result, to act as if it's already happened. Then in your imagination, you see yourself already in possession of your goal. Or if you set an intention for another person, you see them as you want to see them. You don't see them in their current state, you see them as you want to see them. Make sense? So that's the real takeaway here is that's what we're trying to perfect here. We're trying to control our thoughts. Because thoughts are going to come and go all through the day. We all know this. It's so easy to think negative. It's so easy to play what if games, and all the what if games we play with ourselves, are really negative scenarios. It's not a positive scenario for us or another person. So that's the real takeaway here is anytime you think about your attention, anytime you go throughout the day, you focus on the end result of your attention. And you have to have total confidence that it's going to happen. Total belief that it's going to happen. You don't know when, and you can't control the how. You give up the how. Okay, you let the how manifest wherever how it's going to manifest. Okay, you don't try to control. You don't try to manipulate. Sometimes it takes longer when you do that. You totally give up the how because you totally believe once you set that intention, it's going to happen. Okay, you totally have belief in that. But anyway, that being said, that's the only thing I wanted to talk about, only thing I wanted to focus on here. Don't want to give like a 1 hour speech about this. But anyway, focus on your attention, focus end result. Use your imagination for the good in that end result. Really feel in your imagination, you having your attention, you having your goal, or you having that attention for another person, depending upon how you're using it in this scenario. But other than that, I'll see you in the next video.